Slide on it.
You're now tuned in to Black Death 101.
Where the streets talk and the reels roll.
This ain't just a podcast, baby. It's a revolution with rhythm.
Now let's get into it.
Welcome to the Black Death 101 podcast, where the streets talk and the reels roll. We dissect our favorite blaxploitation films that saved Hollywood and still influence it today. I'm your host, Nubius Black, and giving him 5 on the right-hand side, my brother from another mother, Johnny Deth.
Welcome to the show, cool cats, foxy ladies, and funketeers. This is Black Death 101, where the concrete confesses and the celluloid sings. This ain't nostalgia, baby. This is American history in platform shoes. Now, tonight we're going to slide into Harlem, where neon bleeds into rain puddles, Curtis Mayfield hums through the apartment windows, and every brother with a sharp suit got one eye on tomorrow and one eye on the grave. This is Superfly. This ain't about glorifying the game. This is about trying to leave the game alive.
And before we get started, spoilers alert, if you didn't watch these films, we beg you to go out there and check these films out. Watch them for yourself. Give us your feedback on what you think works and what doesn't work. Believe me, I have a lot to say about Superfly in this film because it was one of those films growing up that I thought I loved. Then as an adult, I'm watching it, and I just guess I'm seeing it through, I watched it through rose-colored glasses back in the day because there is a lot of weird things going on in this film, but I give it its credit because, like Johnny said, it really kicked off the blaxploitation genre of movies. So be forewarned, they use a lot of curse words in there, and they are dropping nigger bombs like it's like Iraq. So just give us a like, subscribe, follow, check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And with that and all that house cleaning out of the way, what's this film about, Johnny?
Well, as usual, I've got to bring you folks up to speed on America in 1972. It was shaken in its bones. Vietnam was still chewing up suns. Watergate was already rotting in the walls. Factories were closing. Heroin was flooding black neighborhoods like an invisible occupation. Black audiences were tired of being scenery. They wanted stories that looked like their streets, sounded like their music, and spoke their fears. 1 year after Sweetbag, just mere months after Shaft, that door cracked wide open with Superfly. Superfly is about Priest. Priest is a successful cocaine dealer in Harlem. He's the best there is. He wears the sharpest suits, drives the cleanest rides. There were cats like this on the streets at the time, but this is the first time we'd ever seen them on film. Dope pusher, not as a villain, but as a anti-hero, if not hero.
Yeah.
Now, Priest is living on borrowed time. He knows the clock is ticking, so he plans one massive deal, a score big enough to buy his way out of the game forever, but the system he works inside of won't let him leave easy. His suppliers tighten their grip, the police, corrupt motherfuckers close in. Even his closest partner starts questioning whether freedom is still possible. So what follows isn't a rise to power. It's a countdown. It's a man that's trying to outrun a city that profits from him staying trapped. Everyone is out to get him. Junkies rip him off, and he gives chase in one of those great blaxploitation foot chases. His partner, whose life he saved by bringing him into the game, ends up betraying him. This is a wild film, and you're going to find out that when I initially saw this in the early 70s, I was not impressed. I loved the fucking music. I went out and I bought the soundtrack, which had songs that weren't even in the movie that helped explain the story of the movie a little better to me. The film itself, I walked out of there thinking Gordon Parks Jr. was not a pimple on his daddy's ass. But in rewatching it now, I find a fresh appreciation. How did you enjoy the film on this viewing,
On this
Nubius?
viewing, like I said earlier, I think I watched the film with rose-colored glasses because I grew up in the '70s. My brothers and sisters, they all had afros. I had afros. We all dressed with the polyester. We didn't dress like pimps because we didn't have it like that. You know, we were 6 kids strong. But you looked at that and you watched the film, and again, like you said, Curtis Mayfield, take him out of the equation, this film falls flat on its ass. I'm sorry, it just does. Like you said, Gordon Parks Jr. was literally a shadow of his father in this movie where you could see scenes and go, not only are they the same scenes in Shaft, they're in the same order. You know what I mean? It's like, let's follow this, cut and paste, and take this guy as a streetwise cop out of the equation and private dick to all the chicks to a public dick who's a drug dealer. And it's weird because growing up, if you talk about, or even to this day, the novices, when you think of Superfly, they think Superfly is a pimp, and he's not. They even say in this movie, he doesn't have the heart to be a pimp. He doesn't
No,
have the heart for
no.
that game. And for someone who's coming up with this master plan, and it's a good plan when, like you said, they're not glorifying the drugs, the drug game. It's there. You can't hide it. He's trying to get out of it. He comes up with the most ridiculous Acme bomb making kit plan to get out of this deal without telling his friend. And he throws it at his friend like as a take it or leave it. When his friend is fine with the game, because like he said in the movie, he'd rather die an old man junkie than just be a nobody and have nothing. So yes, on this viewing, I was not impressed, and I can't believe this. This is one of the few times we disagree. We have the complete opposites watching on this film. You didn't like it as a kid, I did. I could care for it less on as an adult. So hopefully, Superfly TNT will impress me. But again, that not everything is for everybody, and that's the truth right there. But again, the music, wow. If
Mm.
they would have just stuck to the whole soundtrack, that soundtrack, if you're confused with this film, just get the soundtrack, listen to it. It tells the fucking movie in order. It's great. But yeah, I agree.
Gordon Parks Jr., he had a lot to live up to. His father was a legendary photographer, writer, composer. He directed The Learning Tree and Shaft. He did Shaft's big score, which is my favorite Shaft movie. But Junior wasn't really chasing his father's shadow. I think he was chasing truth. He shot Harlem as it breathed: cold hallways, wet pavement with trash on the sidewalks,
Out of track.
corner hustles. Yeah, quiet fear. The camera walks instead of floats, like it belongs to the block. And Superfly was his first feature. He had done a little bit of second unit photography on Shaft, but he came into this and he made it feel like a documentary in silk, street scenes, games of craps. I think the brother captures it. And it's a pity that he died in a plane crash in Kenya about 7 years later. He was only 44 years old, and his voice was still rising
Yeah.
when it was taken away. As far as the acting, I think Ron O'Neal is one of the most charismatic motherfuckers I've ever seen. He brings Youngblood Priest to life. He's not really flashy, but I dig that long coat. He ain't cartoonish.
No, he's not a cartoon.
Yeah, he's tired and he doesn't want to be king. He just wants out. And we learned that Harlem doesn't sell exits.
No. And that is a good point. Ron O'Neal did play the character where you kind of had, on one end, you kind of had sympathy for this guy where he knows his time is running out and he needs to get out and he needs that big score so he can leave. Where's he gonna go? This is my point when it comes to his master plan. He don't know. He even tells Sheila Frazier, who's in this movie, who was last seen in Three the Hard Way, who has a very small scene in this, by the way. And
But she's important.
I guess, dude, I don't know who's more important. Who's more important, Sheila Fraser or Polly Niles, the white girl? I think Polly is the only one. Polly Niles is the only one that with any common sense in this whole fucking movie where she goes, dude, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? And why are you going to do it? Where Sheila Fraser's character of Georgia says, I will take the load with you. She's willing to, she's that what they call it now, the ride or die chick. And Polly Niles is, believe it or not, she's the fucking voice of reason. With her drinking her wine with her bamboo wrapped around the wine and shit.
Well, here's the thing with Niles. She is what Priest thought he wanted. But now that he has it, it's not doing anything for him. And I almost think that her main reason for sticking it out and telling him to keep going is, well, she wants to get a pound of blow for her friends. She is basically, folks, she is the chick that is in almost every Blaxploitation movie after this. She's the girl that's in every Blaxploitation movie, the white chick that is the hero's side piece.
Well, she did say that she had a lot of friends, and Ronald Neal's character Priest goes, you know, you're my number one fucking dealer. You're my number one dealer compared to all the people he had working for him. She's the one that brought in the most people. And then when they did
Yeah.
that little photo collage of everybody getting high, you can see a lot of white people just acting a fucking fool on cocaine. Where black people are getting high, white people are rolling around on the floor and acting like maniacs.
It's a great montage. And again, the music is what lights it up.
Yes.
Curtis Mayfield didn't decorate this film. He judged it. Songs like Pusher Man, Freddie's Dead, Give Me Your Love, these weren't party records. They were warnings. Curtis, I think, wrote the truth into the melodies. Addiction, exploitation, survival. His album sold millions. It did better than the movie itself did. Youngblood Priest is a junkie. It's a cocaine habit, so it's
Right.
not as sloppy as heroin. But the first time we see him, he's sniffing.
Nonstop.
His whole plan for retirement is he wants to have enough money that he doesn't have to do anything anymore, but still have that blow that he can do a little of every day.
Yeah, and again, I think that is just the wackiest fucking plan anybody ever had. Because I'm saying, like, then what would the girl do? If he loves her so much, why would he drag her into this? And if he's picking either Georgia or Cynthia, what would their role in his life be? And he could not answer that. There's that old expression, don't get high on your own supply. And this motherfucker was snorting left, right, and center. Apparently,
And he did not stop.
no, he had the fucking Ankh spoon around his neck. That was cool, though. You gotta admit. But
That was cool.
this was the first time I seen Julius Harris, who plays Scatter, who owns a restaurant. He said he owned almost every building on the block in Harlem.
He owned a couple of blocks there.
And then helping out his youngblood Priest by loaning him the cocaine to get started with his big master plan. He fucks everything up. Everybody fucking gets killed for the most part. The only person who walked out of there was Eddie. Eddie was the only one that was smart because Eddie was dropping dime on his ass.
Priest walks away too. Just so folks know, Eddie is Priest's partner. Priest found him as a junkie, straightened his ass out, and they became partners in the trade. So when Priest wants to get out, Eddie doesn't. To get out, they've each got about $150K saved up. They need all $300,000 to buy 30 kilos. That's 66 pounds of pure cocaine. And yeah, they got to go to Scatter, to Julius Harris to do it. But Julius is retired. He doesn't want to do it. He's sitting there in his restaurant that he owns. We do have a little bit of a pimp scene in that restaurant.
Oh, yeah. We also have Curtis Mayfield in a cameo.
Exactly. He's there performing the soundtrack to the album in the movie.
Yeah, Pusher Man. Best song ever.
And it fits everything happening in that scene. Of course, Priest finally convinces Scatterman to get him the cocaine. Scatterman even tells him, I got a kilo ready for you now. You can pick that up tomorrow at 1. He goes back to his table, and this is like the first time, and maybe the only time in the movie that you see Priest relax. He orders a cold beer. He's sitting back. One of his buddies are there, and then Fat Freddy shows up. Now, Freddy owed money for cocaine. Priest wasn't going to let him slide. He made him go out and work for it. He told him, "You're either going out and working tonight or your wife is going out and working
Right.
the street." Cold shit. So he goes out and they have him rob this guy, and he gets the cash and he gives it to Priest, and he kind of hears about, oh, he's picking up that kilo tomorrow. We meet his wife. We see, okay, this man's wife is going to get him in trouble.
Yeah, she's stuffing money in her bra and shit.
Yeah, yeah. Sure enough, the next time we see Fat Freddy, Freddy is beating the shit out of someone for talking to his wife. The cops bring him in, rough him up, and Freddy, who the first time we meet him, tells Priest, I don't do no violence. Well, he sure took to
Yeah,
it.
he learned that shit quick, didn't he? Brass
Yeah,
knuckles and everything.
but you could tell he was a fuck up from the get-go. And
Exactly.
he
That's my point. My point,
he
Priest is
rats.
so fucking smart, and he's such this fucking drug genius. Why would you put Freddie out there? He was better off putting Freddie's wife on the stroll. Really, he was safer. Freddie also is being played by Charles McGregor. Last scene in Three the Hard Way, who got thrown off a fucking dam. Here he gets hit by a fucking car. And the editing, another problem I have with this movie, the editing is fucking batshit crazy. I think the fucking editor was on cocaine because scenes jump from scene to scene, or the editor would let a scene breathe too long. Whereas, like, do we really need to see this motherfucker walk out of his car, open the door, go up the stairs, put the key in the door, open the door, go in his apartment? I mean, it was so long. And
You
some
also
scenes,
notice the love scene. The love
oh
scene with
my
Sheila
God.
Fraser goes on
Okay.
for fucking ever, and there's a reason. Let me just interject, and I mentioned it in the Three the Hard Way episode. There's a point in the editing of these films where the editor goes to Gordon and says, "Gordon, we only got 80 minutes. We need 90. I think we need 91 for this movie." And Gordon says, "Surely there are more scenes from the lovemaking. Surely there's a scene of a guy just walking. Stretch those scenes out."
Yeah, yeah.
And that is the Gordon Parks Jr. way. You'll notice in Three the Hard Way, endless scenes of Wendy and
Yeah,
Jimmy
yeah, just
walking
walking
in the
and
park.
skipping around and shit.
You got Fred on the boat with the lady, just maybe it seems to go on for 5-10 minutes instead of about 20 seconds. That's, I think, what Gordon Parks Jr. does. He shoots as much as he can and then pads it out.
Well, speaking of being padded out, back to the bathtub scene. You got Freaks in the bathtub. He's laying there, and she's trying to really get into his head, get into his space. He won't let her in. He's sitting there with his processed hair and them fucking sideburns that will cut your ass like a razor blade, looking mad as hell. I'm like, how are you so mad in a bubble bath with this hot ass naked woman? And Charles McGregor, we talked about Charles McGregor when he fell off the dam in Three the Hard Way. Here he plays Fat Freddy. Man, there was a lot of meat on those bones, literally, for his character. And I like the way, he kept saying, I don't do the violent shit, I don't do the violent shit. But then we cut to see him beating the shit out of somebody literally inside of a garbage can or some shit where the cops see
Yeah.
him. They take him in. He drops a dime on Priest and gets hit by a car. But Charles McGregor, like we said last show, he was in jail for a double homicide. He murdered 2 people, and somehow he got out of jail, man, and got into acting. And you'll see him in shit like Blazing Saddles and any other Blaxploitation films. He's always there. So he made good. He could have just went and did what he did before, but just getting lucky. I'm on the how the hell he got out in the 70s for a double homicide, but he did. He got out, wrote a few books, and lived a good life. So, cheers to Charles McGregor. If you don't throw him in a fucking railroad track sinking inside a quicksand, he's
Art,
okay.
is everything rising or are we sinking?
Oh, we sinking.
Yeah. Listen, church groups hated this movie. Civil
Yeah.
rights leaders criticized it. Politicians complained. They said it glorified the game. I didn't really see too much of it glorifying the
I
game.
didn't either.
I think the streets really recognized the mirror because this wasn't fantasy. It was, almost like a documentary style, as I
What
said.
they say, what's that old saying? Game knows game. And that was the real truth. That was the real truth.
You nailed it. Now, Freddie, before he gets hit by the car, tells the cops that Priest is picking up a kilo. They grab him when he picks up the kilo, throw him into a street well, and they tell him, hey, you work for us now. That's my kilo you're buying, and we'll go and sell you everything direct. He and Eddie are sitting there. First, they think they're getting busted. Then they realize Scatterman's source that he buys the cocaine from is the detective squad at the local precinct. These
Yeah. The
fucking cops.
commissioner ran everything.
Yes, yes. And Scatterman has dirt on these guys and he gives it to Priest. Priest gives him some cash so that he can get away, but they're waiting for Scatterman outside Priest's building. They pick him up. He's like, here, man, I got 40 grand for you. And they give him a hot shot. They OD him, kill him right on the fucking spot.
Yeah. Again, Julius Harris, great actor. You look at Julius Harris and you go, oh, that motherfucker. He plays a great villain. He plays a scary good guy, if that makes
It
sense.
does.
And in my opinion, he used to be a mailman in Philadelphia before he started acting. And I just love Julius Harris, from Live and Let Die when he had the hook hand, also in
Yeah, he
Harlem.
played Teehee. And Black Caesar.
Black Caesar, he was, his father. And then end up in Hell Comes to Harlem as the fucking kingpin. That motherfucker went from being this quiet, unassuming man in Black Caesar to a fucking killer. We're getting to that movie, ladies and gentlemen. Hell Up in Harlem
yes.
is a fucking maniac show as well. But love Julius Harris. I always would like to, my dream casting would be him. And yeah, Keith David is who I like, but I keep thinking of David Keith, who's the white guy.
Yes, no, Keith David is freaking great.
Can you imagine him and Julius Harris in a fucking film? Oh God, great shit. Keith David is great. Watch the lowdown, ladies and gentlemen. If, we have no fucking connection with FX, but here's a freebie. Watch the lowdown with Ethan Hawke and Keith David. You can't go wrong. It's fucking hilarious and is a great story. Back to the show.
And for my animation friends, Keith David plays the president on Rick and Morty.
Yeah, he's also Goliath. Remember Goliath from Gargoyles? And Spawn?
The Thing, he's still alive at the end.
Yeah. Is he the thing or isn't he the thing? All I know is if I had to have an audio book telling my life story and everybody picks James Earl Jones or
I'll
Morgan
go with
Freeman,
Keith David.
I'm going Keith David all the way. Or maybe
Agreed.
Samuel Jackson, in case I need some motherfuckers thrown up in there. We can go with Samuel Jackson. I'm a motherfucker. Just throw it in there.
So back to our film, Freddy's dead.
That's what I said.
Yes. And now Priest is enraged, but he's also scared. He goes to the mafia. And in this film, he's in good with the mafia. He's not trying to move in on their territory. So he gives them all the information on the police commissioner and tells them, here, I'm paying you for a hit in advance. Anything happens to me, you take out this guy, you take out his family. The mobsters are like, okay, Priest, you got it, man. It's a deal.
You paid in advance. He had a layaway murder plan.
So that when they grab him, he goes up to Eddie's. He's, Eddie, this is it. I'm getting out of here. Scatterman, they just killed him. it's over for me. I need out. And Eddie's like, no, man, this is the best. We finally all set up. No, you give me half the money we have, and I'm gone. He takes that half of money, and as soon as he's not even a half a step out of the apartment, Eddie calls the fucking cops and says, okay, he's got his cash. It's in this little briefcase. Just left my place. The cops go to pick him up, but in the elevator, this at first I thought it was some old lady with like her groceries
Yeah,
or
who the fuck
laundry.
was that?
It was Sheila Fraser.
Oh, okay.
She takes the money from him and gives him an empty briefcase filled with just like clothes, dirty
His dirty
laundry.
drawers and socks.
The cops grab him while she goes out the back. No one notices her. He sees her taken off. They grab him. They're about to fucking off him. They go to open up his briefcase and take the cash, and there's nothing there. And that's when he tells them, I know who you are. And he tells the guy who he is. He says, I have taken a hit out on you. Anything happens to me. And they believe him. And he walks away. The movie's over.
Right. The end.
The end. Oh man. Without Superfly, there's definitely no The Mac. We probably wouldn't have gotten Black Caesar, Sugar Hill Coffee, Three the Hard Way, or any of the others. The door opened here. Hollywood saw not just a studio black lead film like Shaft, but a low budget, street level movie could freaking explode. And this thing was beyond the box office hit. With the budget it had, it made more money than any other movie that year in profit.
Right. And that's just a movie. And like you said earlier, the soundtrack did better than the movie.
Yeah. So when
So
Curtis flows through your speakers, you don't just nod your head. I say, listen to the warning. Watch what Priest is running from and understand, what Harlem was surviving at the time.
and the fact that you can literally close your eyes, go in a dark room, have a nice drink, smoke them if you got them, lay back, chill, play this soundtrack, and that movie will be playing in your brain, and it's in vivid color because Curtis paints these songs in color, man. He's telling you graphic, point by point. Great, dude. I'm gonna say something that may sound controversial. We obviously have our opinions on how much we like this film. I believe the soundtrack to Superfly blows Shaft out of the fucking water. Just does. I'm sorry.
Does.
Shaft
It
had a
does.
great
It
theme song, but Shaft didn't have any fucking follow-up songs in there that was as good as, come on, Freddy's Dead. That's telling the story of Fat Freddy being hit by a car and dying. And it tells him
That's
about
right.
the world using and abuse him, including his wife. It's a fucking great song.
Everybody abused him.
Superfly is not Ron O'Neill's character. A lot of people think that Priest is Superfly. No, Superfly is the description of the cocaine that he had. It was so pure. It was so good. It was so smooth. It was so mellow. It was Superfly.
You
That's
could
what
step
you're
on it
fucking
4
celebrating.
times, and it was still
Right.
better than anything else.
What other movie you know besides maybe Black Dynamite in the modern era that used real pimps' cars, and the pimps had their friends and their fucking clients and their johns and their hoes come to the fucking premiere pimped out to see their cars and their clothes that were on loan to the people in this movie? You looking at what Ron O'Neal is wearing? That was probably down the Magic Wand shit for all we know, because I know it belonged to all the pimps. And the weird thing is, the New York City police took the license plate numbers of these cars to follow the real pimps in real life when it was over. That's great.
That is crazy. Now, this film was financed by 2 directors, Gordon Parks, Daddy, and Sig Shore, who produced Superfly. He
Right.
also played the deputy commissioner, Reardon, the man in this film. It was picked up by Warner Brothers. They had a great success with it, which immediately got them to put like Black Belt Jones into production. Nate Adams was the guy who coordinated the fashion and the wardrobe. He had done fashion shows and he did borrow outfits from some of the pimps.
Not to mention Sheila Frazier's husband. Sheila Frazier's husband was the fucking hairdresser.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's a famous hairdresser. And he did hairdressing for that film as well as other films.
The DP on it, director of photography, was Jim Signorelli, and he went on to be the film segment director for all the little short films and commercials for Saturday Night Live. And we haven't talked about Carl Lee, who plays Eddie. Now he went on and did a lot of television, uh, and he had some good fame there until heroin. He died in '86 of an overdose.
Wow, played that shit a little close to the vest, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. The film was made under $500,000. It generated $4 million in profits. The bulk of the profits went to the producer because he put up the most money. He put up 40% of it. And a lot more money came in. I think it was another $5 million in profit from the soundtrack alone. So despite all of the uproar from the church groups,
NAACP.
the production of the film really did make some significant advances for the African American community. And the Harlem community backed Superfly financially. A lot of the black businessmen there put money into it as well. It's just amazing that such a small film could just come out and just be as culturally significant as it was. It is a little movie that grew up to be a big movie,
Right, right.
if that makes sense.
It makes a perfect sense. And the sad part is that Ron O'Neal did not want to play another character that was like into the drug game or streetwise or anything. He wanted to be known as a quote unquote real actor. But like you said, he did Superfly, TNT. He did like movies and like original gangster, shit like that, Master Gunfighter. But he also was in like he had bit roles in the Final Countdown when they fucking went through the fucking time travel bullshit with the fucking aircraft carrier. He
Oh,
was in
yeah,
that.
yeah.
He was in Force One with Chuck Norris. Go figure that one out. So, he died of pancreatic cancer, but Ron O'Neal really, again, you can't take that away from a man. When you see a guy with that hair and all you hear in your brain is doom, 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 doom. You're hearing that Pusher Man bass, baby. And Ron O'Neal,
Oh,
he,
yeah.
he had the look. There's no doubt about it. Like again, it's not my top deal. It's one of those I will watch it again, give or take a few years, but it will be watched. But that's not one of my go-tos. But cultural significance. I wouldn't have the movies I like if it wasn't for this movie. And for that, I salute Superfly.
This is a film that I find it kind of melancholy because Priest is not a happy character. He's
No, he's not.
tired. He's emotionally worn down. While everyone was screaming about the drugs in this movie did not celebrate the drug game.
No,
It
no.
kind of mourns the fact that it even existed.
And the sad part is you notice he ain't just sniffing as like cocaine is known as a party drug. They whip cocaine out, you go dancing. You whip cocaine out, you're hanging out with your friends. You whip cocaine out, you might be with a woman. He is whipping cocaine out just to make it through the fucking next day because he is so stressed and he's so on edge. That is his only release. Because, like he said, it's not in his nature to be a pimp, to slap around women and beat women up or push them around or have them be basically slaves. It's not in his nature to fucking pull out a gun and shoot anybody. I don't think he pulled a fucking gun out and shot anybody in this whole movie. Think about
No,
that.
not at all.
He
It did
didn't.
not have the standard action that a lot of these films are, that we see a lot of these movies for. This is a film that while people complain to glorify drugs, and I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record, it exposed how the system
Yes.
forces men into it, how crooked cops and politicians profit from it. It showed drugs as a trap. And then it showed the exit.
And that is what the movie is all about. It is the drug game is a giant mousetrap. The cops will put on a big enough piece of cheese and he'll keep putting bigger pieces of cheese on there just to keep that dealer to deal. Then when that trap is snapped, he just goes to the next mouse. It's pretty simple. And it still goes on today. Well, without being so preachy, Superfly, again, was what it was. It was a cultural icon. It motivated studios. It motivated directors and writers to go, we don't even need a studio to do this shit. If Gordon Parks can do it on a little bit of money, why don't we try it? And if it wasn't for Superfly, we wouldn't be doing this show right here today.
That is absolutely right. It's an anti-drug movie. Listen to the warning. Watch what Priest is running from and understand what Harlem was surviving in 1972.
And sadly, things hasn't really changed. We went from Technicolor to being in AI 3D. And sadly, cocaine has been turned into other drugs, being the heroin, the synthetic heroin that's out there. Fucking dude, there's so much shit out there. I'm so glad I'm not in that game. You know, give me a nice glass of Merlot, and I'm the happiest motherfucker in the world. But it's just sad. But this film is a wake up call. Again, it's ahead of its time. It's of its time and ahead of its time. Not too many films can say that. And with that, this is our last episode.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the last episode for season 1, folks. But we are going to be back for season 2, and I think we're going to kick off with a Pam Grier movie. What do you say, Nubius?
Sounds good. Sequel Mania. We'll do a month of sequels of the films we did this year. And
Yes.
Pam, we did Coffee. We got, man, Pam has so much good stuff out there. Sheba Baby, Friday Foster. Hell, even if you,
Friday Foster, man. I could
even if
watch
you
her and
watch-
Yaphet Kotto bop around LA
yeah,
all day.
yeah. She's in that Peacock documentary too about cowboys and stuff.
Oh,
High
shit,
Horse.
I got to check that out.
It's very good, and it shows that if you ever wanted to know what happened to Pam Grier, A, for her age, she still looks fine, and B,
Mhm.
she lives in she owns a horse ranch. She's
She
riding a horse.
does.
Yep. So it
God
talks
bless her.
about it talks about Hollywood. It talks about the world, how basically the white establishment co-opted the cowboy and turned it into and glorified it into this John Wayne, Clint Eastwood phenomenon. When in reality, cowboy was it was just as derogatory as calling a man a nigger, because you had a
Mhm.
cowhand, he was white. Cowboy, he was black. And he lived with the cows and the horses while the cowhand had his own little, group of people that he could stay with, like in a little fucking locker room or whatever. But that's another story. Check that show out. It's on Peacock. It's free. Check it out. But
I
dude,
will.
I think we had a fucking master class of a first season, and I can't wait to get back into season 2.
Have a great new year, and we will be back for season 2 in about 2 weeks.
Same black time.
Same black channel. Peace.
Peace.
You feel that heat? That's the sound of revolution. In bell bottoms, baby. Where every brother got style and every sister got fire. We don't run from the night, we own it. Rolling down the boulevard, midnight chrome, velvet suit, switchblade tucked out right along. The system's cold, the streets ain't fair, but I got rhythm in my soul and a black power stare. Black is the night and we shine in the dark, moving through the fire, igniting the spark. Got the funk in my veins, got the soul in my stride. Ain't no chains gonna hold me, I was born to ride. pocket, justice in my hand, a queen by my side. She know I'm her man. Talk slick, walk slick, jive with a grin, but don't mistake the smile I play to win. Slipped into the bitter, popcorn in hand, big screen heroes taking a stand, pimps and Cadillacs, nuns with guns, and a villain named the man who always runs. I cheered when Sweetback kicked that cop, dropped my soda on coffee, made that head pop. Watch the moves, that's right. Side left now, hit that groove, buzzing through lies with the funk so fly like Shaft, Superfly and Dolomite combined. On the ground, we don't run from the fight. We got rhythm, we got pride. We're the kings and queens that time can't hide. Yeah, tell them, this ain't just a soundtrack, it's a statement. Power, pride, funk, and